Hello everyone and welcome to Blank First Page. My name is Lucas. In this video I'm going to be reviewing two of the inks from Lamy's Crystal ink range. I have been using fountain pens off and on for the last 2 decades, thereabouts. My father and uncle, who are both notaries, always had fountain pens in their offices, and my cousins, who are Austrian, used fountain pens from when they were in primary school, which to me seemed so interesting, so exciting. All I ever got to write with was a blue ballpoint pen. So when I got out of secondary school and I moved into university and then later on at work as well, I always had some fountain pen in my rotation. But the main thing that kept me from using fountain pens consistently was finding the right ink. That's because what I want in an ink is the most extreme version of the color, the deepest, darkest version of blue, black, green, red, whatever it might be. And because I grew up writing with blue ballpoint pens, blue was the color that I just associated with writing. It was the only color we were, for some reason, allowed to write with in primary and secondary school. But that kind of became ingrained into my association between writing, and the colors that you see had to be blue. So when I first started using fountain pens, on my own terms, the default color I tried to get was blue. And finding the right blue is an absolute nightmare. Each manufacturer claims they're blue-black, but they are very much on the blue side, and definitely when they dry out, they tend towards this washed out, much lighter blue color. And that's just useless to me. I don't enjoy writing with it, I don't like seeing what it is, so I end up not using the fountain pen. That's exactly what happened. Then as my sort of writing tastes developed into their own, I realized black is the color for me. As you can see from my glasses, the shirts I wear, black is just the go-to color. And then that just became the color I sought out when I was buying pens and inks. When it came to fountain pen inks, once again, this washing out problem cropped up again. What starts out as a supposed dark black ends up in some shade of gray. Each ink manufacturer will have a number of different types of black ink, all called names that are trying to express the darkness of that particular black.
They're all black.
But once again, the vast majority of them just don't deliver. The first breakthrough in my search for the darkest and permanently dark black ink came to me in one of my favorite stationery stores of all time, that's Milligram in Melbourne. And it is this Lamy Crystal black ink. The name of the ink is Obsidian, and the reason I tried this brand of ink in the first place is because Lamy's own selling point is that this is an intense color. The ink is black, it is black when it goes down onto the paper, and it stays black. It does ever so slightly lose a bit of the intensity, but up till that point I just had not come across a black that retained its darkness as well as this one. I've since gone on to find 2 other black inks that meet this criteria, and that's the Noodler's Heart of Darkness and the Platinum Carbon black ink. That platinum one is my go-to ink now, but I still on occasion will use this Lamy one. So that's the black ink story of the Lamy Crystal inks sorted. The reason I have a green ink is because I am a sucker for colored inks, even though I've settled on the fact that I pretty much only like writing in black ink. So I keep having these wishful thoughts about colorful inks, and I keep buying them, but I never actually use them. It is almost imperceptible with inks sometimes, unless you're kind of mindfully looking out for it. But the inks themselves, even though they're all fountain pen inks, they have different textures. These particular Lamy inks, no matter which pen I've put them in, they always feel very smooth. They are viscous enough that it's not watery. One of the worst offenders for the super thin inks is Waterman. I guess it's no surprise that it's literally in their name, but the ink is just very insubstantial. These ink, they look almost like squid ink. It's got some sort of viscosity to it, but it's not like an India ink, which would actually gum up your pen. These are actually very well engineered inks, and the black ink in particular, I've left in this 146 Mont Blanc for 9 months at a time without using the pen, and it hasn't gummed up. So if you're looking for value for money inks, especially where you want a range of colors, these particular ones are unbeatable. If it's black alone you're looking for and you want the darkest black, the most permanent black, my heart still lies with the platinum carbon black ink. I have never been disappointed with that. For the writing test, I've got this glass inkwell from my grandfather here, which I will use a syringe to drop some of each of the color in there. And for a writing instrument, I've got this Mont Blanc 146, which is actually my father's from his notarial days, and I've permanently borrowed it. I saw this technique in one of these unintentional ASMR videos in a Japanese stationery store, fountain pen store, where the shop owner is helping a client try out a bunch of different pens, and he just uses an open bottle of ink, doesn't bother filling each pen. He just allows the client to dip the nib of the pen into the ink and try that pen out. The idea, I guess, is that it saves on having to fill and empty and clean out each pen, which can be a laborious process, so that fits in perfectly here. Back from the kitchen after a very thorough rinsing. So there are my thoughts on the Lamy crystal inks. If you've tried any of their other colors, please let me know if the experience was the same as what I described or you're disappointed in them. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.